Hello viewers, welcome to part 2 of Introduction to Tally. In this session, we will basically learn about the screen components of Tally ERP 9, and also we will understand the screen components of TallyPrime. Okay. So once you execute Tally, so in the last session we saw how to execute Tally after installing Tally. So all you need to do is just double click on the Tally icon on your desktop, and the Tally ERP screen opens. So let's try and understand the screen components. So if you see, the main screen of Tally ERP 9 is divided into two sections. Okay. The section which is on the left hand side is basically the information about the company and the list of companies that you're working on. The right hand side basically is the menu section where you can select your various action points. Okay. Then you have this top, you see this, like this buttons. Now these are your uh, top button bar. So basically, you call this as a top button bar, and all these are actionable buttons where you can perform different actions. Where basically it is given you what is the kind of action that you can perform, right? And these buttons are basically is called as static button. So what do you mean by static button? Now all those buttons that you see on top will remain throughout your Tally EXE various screens. So whether you are in the voucher entry screen, or whether you are in the master creation screen, or whether you are in the reporting screen. So those buttons are going to remain constant at any point in time. You can access those actionables. Right? Then on the right side, you now see this green color, bricks, which is basically called as the right side button bar. And currently there are no buttons, actionable buttons here in this particular screen. Now this is basically your home screen, or you call this as the gateway of Tally, where you see here. Okay. It's a company information screen, and you have only one button, which is F12 configuration. So we will discuss about the configuration and various other things as we get acquainted to Tally little more in a better way. Okay. So the top static button, the right hand side button, okay, and the bottom information that you see here basically gives you the information about the Tally software that you're using, or the product that you're using, and your license information, and what is the release that you are using, and various other things. So let us just quickly try and understand each of these sections which is at the bottom. So the first left hand side corner is basically, it talks about the product. So the product that you are using is Tally ERP 9. Okay. Now, if you want to go to a website, you really don't have to, minimize Tally, open your browser and all those things to go to your Tally website. So all you need to do is just, if you bring your cursor here, see it changes the position, the cursor changes, and just click here, and it, it will automatically take you to your Tally home screen, right? So here you can basically, see all the other information. Okay. Then the next section is basically talks about the version and the updates that are available. So in the last session, I had mentioned about the TSS, which is your Tally software subscription. If you are, subscribed, you can actually you are eligible for update. Now, if you see here on my system, it says the current version of Tally that I am using is Series A, which is release 6.6.2. Okay. And Tally also, based on your connectivity of net and based on, as long as you're working and you have internet on your system, I mean, like at some periodic time, tally, basically, I mean, like this information, there is this heartbeat, we call it. So this heartbeat basically goes to the tally server to basically check whether the license is up to date, and all such other information. So during this heartbeat, or during this uh, handshake with the server in tally, it recognizes your system, and also it tells you, in case, uh, if there is a latest version that has been made available by tally, and if you have not updated that version, tally is also going to give you the information saying that what is the version or the release, basically what is the release that you are using, and also what is the release version that is available. So if you notice here, it says tally release that currently I'm using is 6.6.2, which is just one version lower than the latest version that is available as on today for Tally ERP 9. So it says that release 6.6.3 is available. So now I want to update. So how do I update? Right. So it is very simple in Tally. All you need to do is just bring your cursor here, click here, and it is going to now tell you what is the version that is installed and currently running, and what is the version that is available. Okay, so that is, you click and then you come here, or there is this keyboard shortcut. There's a lot of keyboard shortcuts which I will be telling you at the appropriate time. It is very important that you make a note. Basically, you have to just take one notebook and dedicate one separate page for various keyboard shortcut, because if you want to be a power user of Tally, right, so you have to basically remember these keyboard shortcuts, so that I mean, like you can work in Tally very comfortably. Okay, so it says that if you want to update, it's either you click by the mouse, or it says you use the keyboard shortcut which says Control Alt T. So I can just press Control Alt T, and it takes me to this same screen. So now if I want to update, so I'm going to just demonstrate and show you how easy, how simple, and how quick is it for you to update. So you really don't have to worry about going to the website, downloading it, and then installing it, because especially a non-technical person, it is going to be very difficult. And I'm one of the non-technical person, where I mean, like the most of the technical aspect, I am not very comfortable. I know the basic aspect of it, so I'm not very comfortable. I'm basically a domain guy. So any technical question, if you people are having, then I have to basically, if I can answer, I will definitely answer those questions, in case if you are raising any questions in your comment. And otherwise also, I will get in touch with my colleagues in Tally, and then I'll see that your queries are answered. Okay, so let's now quickly see how easy simple is it for us to update to the latest version. So I'm now updating my Tally ERP 9 to the latest version of 6.6. All you need to do is just select this. Now if you see on the right hand side, you will now start getting more buttons with actionables, right? So in the previous screen, we just saw one button, which is F12 configuration, and now you are seeing various buttons, right? So now if you see on the right hand side, there is a button which says update, right? All you need to do is just click here, and again I'm going to give you a lot of tips and tricks of how you can use this keyboard shortcut, and understand the mechanism of managing keyboard shortcuts. Okay, so currently let's not worry about it. So it says update F6. I'm just going to click update. So now it says that update of Tally ERP 9 will restart all this. Fine, no problem. I'll press yes, and it says you need administrators, right? So I just say yes, it will automatically update. So now it is actually updating. So you will see this, and it is now restarting. Okay, Tally is restarting. And yes, see, now my release is 6.6.3, and it took less than a minute for Tally to basically go to the website, download the latest release, install it, and restart, and now you are ready. It is that simple for you to update. The same kind of an experience you will also have in your Tally Prime. Okay, so this is about your thing. So now, as far as Tally ERP is concerned, I am on the latest version of Tally ERP. Okay. Then comes your licensing and other services. So this is your Tally serial number. It basically gives you the serial number, which is a 9-digit number, and it also says what is the version. Okay, so now you will see on my system it says auditor. So we also have a multi-user. Basically, this is an unlimited multi-user version of Tally, which I mean, like about 5-6 years back, we had come out with an audit version of Tally, where we had a special menu for chartered accountants where they can do the audit function. At that point in time, we had 44AB section tax audit module, and we also had statutory audit, okay, where you can do the normal year-end statutory audit, right? So now in the latest release, a lot of changes have happened. I will discuss that when we come to that particular uh, point. Okay, so basically it says it's nothing but my multi-user version, and then this is what is basically the TSS expiry date. It is talking about Tally software subscription. In my case, it is going to expire on 31st of August 2021. So I have, so which means now this license multi-user that I'm using is live. I mean, it's basically my subscription is live, and any update that in future Tally is going to give, and all the new update is going to happen. It's going to happen on Tally Prime. I think this is going to be the last update on 6.6.3. So we don't know if there is any critical update that needs to happen. I'm not sure whether Tally is going to give any update on Tally ERP 9. Okay, so leave with that. So this is my latest update that is there, and this is my subscription. It also gives my account ID. So whenever you are activating your license, you have this TallyNet. This is called as basically TallyNet ID, and this is like your username and password, where you can do a lot of license related activities. Okay, and this is talking about the site, so I can have multiple sites. We will discuss all that at a later point in time. Okay, and this is basically giving you the license, where the license is there. So this is the IP address of the system where the license is there, and it also gives the port. So again, if you want to see more information, you just press Control Alt L. Basically, it talks about your license. Again, it is the same thing. Whatever is given here, it says, okay, now where is your path? These are the path where the information is available. You just press Escape, and similarly the gateway. If you again say Control Alt F, it is going to give you the information. Okay, well, all this location of your data folder and other various information that you get here. So this is basically about your screen components of your company information. Now let's just quickly come to the menu aspect of it. So in the company information, if you have already created a company, Tally is going to tell you that, when you say select company, okay, so when you install Tally for the first time, by default, Tally creates a folder for data. So by default, any company that you're going to create, it is going to save that company or create that company in the default folder when Tally is installed has been created. Okay, but the user can also go and change the default folder. You can specify, in case if you feel that you want your default folder to be to any other specific folder that you want a Tally company to be saved, you can do that. We will see all those as we move forward. So if you have already created a company, when I click select company, now this is where the select company is highlighted. So I say select company. Now it is going to, these are the companies that have already been created by me. And you will notice that now where is this path? Okay, so the default path is, if you see on top just below select company, you will see the path where it says where are these companies being created. So these companies are available on my drive, which is my D drive, and the folder name is demo data. So under this folder, these are the companies that are being created by me. And like I had mentioned, you see this, the numbers that you see in bracket is the folder name that Tally creates by default for Tally to recognize this company from a technical aspect of it. Okay, so you will see this now. For example, I have this demo data where the company number is 99999. Okay, so 5 times 9, and which basically I have actually renamed it. Okay, so I don't have that 99,999 companies. So this way you can go and rename your company. Only thing you have to keep in mind that it has to be in numeric. And it also gives you the information about what is your beginning of your financial year for that particular company, and up to what date or up to what financial year your data is available for each of this company. So you will see this, 2019-20. Okay, I mean, like one company here, if you see here, this company, the data is the beginning of the financial year is 1st of April 2020, which basically that particular financial year. So this is how you can select a company. Okay. Now, since I am assuming that all of us are installed, all of us have installed Tally for the first time. So you don't have any company. So what you would do is that you will create a company. So when you create a company, there are, we will discuss about each component of company creation, and we will understand what are those fields which are required by you to capture for company creation. So this is where you go. So let me just quickly select this. I've already selected. You will see that gray highlight there, and I press enter. And this is going to be your company creation screen. We will come back to this in detail when we go to the company creation section. Okay. Then we have this login as remote user. So what is this login as remote user? See, Tally also has the feature where this feature was introduced almost about 10 years back, where a person can access the Tally data outside the network, outside my office. For example, let us say I have Tally multi-user installed on my machine, and I have another three people who are working on this particular data. So I installed Tally on my machine, which is where basically you call this as a Tally's license server. Tally is installed here, and other three computers Tally is installed, and this is where the my machine IP is what will get configured in the other machine for the other system to access Tally license. So now I had mentioned earlier that multiple people can access the same company and do multiple activities on the same company, or multiple people can access the same license and they can independently work on different companies. That is, I can work on company A. Let's say my other colleague is working on company B. The third person is working on company C. So it all depends on things. So the only thing is the license is being served in the multi-user environment for multiple people to access the license. So with the license, what happens? You have a complete flexibility of working on Tally. There is no restriction, unlike our education version. In the education version of Tally, I had mentioned that you can enter only on 1st, 2nd, and 31st. With the license version, you don't have any of those restrictions. So this is one aspect. Now let us assume that I go visit my client place, and let's take an example of a chartered accountant or a tax practitioner, where I maintain my client's books of account in my office. Now I go for a meeting to a client's place. So one simple thing that I can do is I can take a backup of that, or I can copy the data, put it on my laptop, and then I can go and discuss with my client at the client's site. But then I need another license on my laptop. Otherwise, it is going to be an education version. We know the restrictions of the education version. So what Tally has done is that Tally also has given this feature where I can access the data of this company anywhere outside my network. So this feature is basically called as the remote access. So with this facility, I will have the data of my client on my machine here in my office, right? And I just need a Tally education version installed on my laptop. I can go to my client's place, and now this company, the system where the data and Tally licenses there should be on, and I need to have an internet connection. Then I go to my client's place, then I can now access this data from my client's place. And the best part of remote access, or the remote facility, is that from anywhere outside my office, I can access the data and I can update the information also. So this is just to give you an idea of what is this remote user. Now we will, in the later sessions, we will discuss in detail about the features and functionalities of remote access. Okay. Then the next one is basically the backup of your data, Tally backup, right? So uh, very important. Okay. Especially uh, people who are uh, working already in a company, and also for the owners of the company who is using Tally. It is very, very important that you back up the data on a regular basis. And especially, I would recommend that you back up the data on a daily basis, because I have seen many cases where people don't back up for few people have never even backed up. They don't even know what backup is, right? And many of them have not backed up for months together. And God forbidden, I mean, like something happens to your system or data gets corrupt. Generally, Tally data is very reliable. It doesn't get corrupted so fast. But we don't know. In case if something happens like this, you are going to lose this data. I have come across many cases where people have lost their data, and so much of time, money, effort is going into re-entering, recapturing. So it's very important that you take a backup. And the other important aspect is that when you are taking a backup, make sure the backup is there on some other drive, maybe an external hard disk or something. So don't have the backup in the same system, so that something goes wrong. Your main data is also gone and backup is also gone. So it is important that you take a backup. Backup is basically a copy of the your data is taken by Tally using this backup feature in an encrypted format, right? So you can't just like the double click and open and see the information. So you take a backup, and then in case tomorrow something goes wrong with your data, right, so you can restore the data. Or at times, like I give this example where now I want to discuss, I don't want to update anything, but then I just want to discuss with my client all this information, rather than me accessing remotely, for whatever reason. Then I can take a backup of that. Then I can restore the backup on my laptop, and then I can work with that. Only thing is that you have to make sure that if any update that is happening on that particular restored version of the backup from the system, that is an independent company, right? So it will not get updated here. That is very important for all of you to remember. Then again, we will get into the each and every step of backup and restore. Okay, what is restore? Restore is basically, like I said, I take a backup, which means it encrypts my data and creates one single file. And for me to now view that information, or for me to now update that information, then I need to extract them, right? So the extracting of that compressed version of your company data is basically your restoring data. So you can restore data in case your data gets corrupted. Let us say that previous day you have completed your work and you have taken a backup on an external hard disk. Okay, next day you come to office and then you open you open Tally, and then you try to access your data. For some reason the data is corrupted, or something has gone wrong with the data. So now you really don't have to worry, so you can just discard that, and because you have the latest backup with you, you can just discard them and restore this backup which you have taken the previous day. And after taking the backup, there is no update happened in the data. So you restore them and then you continue working on this thing. So this is basically about the company information. The important thing here that you have to know is that selection of the company and creation of the company. Then you have this backup and restore. Quit is basically it'll quit the exe. Tally will close. Okay, now let's quickly uh, see the Tally Prime. Okay, so the moment I execute Tally Prime is going to give you something like this. Is what is some new change that people will see in case of people migrating from Tally ERP to Tally Prime, right? So I'll quickly explain. So here, if you see the first screen between the Tally, this is the first screen in ERP where it gives you all this information. The same information you will get little later in Tally Prime. So the moment you execute Tally Prime, it is now going to give you this path. So now again here, if you see, my data path is D colon data, right? And there are no company created here. The company is empty here. So you also have this select company here, right? And if you see here, you have this part is very important. Okay, the line, this is going to basically give you the list of companies that if it has already been created, it is going to give the list of companies here. And in here is where you have a lot of actionables that are there. So if for you to create a company, so you have this create company, you click there and then you can create a company. Now here, basically, if you see, there are no companies already created in this folder. So that is why I don't have this option of select company, okay, which we are seeing here. Okay, so this is one change that you are seeing here. Okay, so I can create company, but then I want to select a company. If you see here, um, I have this company. Okay, so when I say select company, right? So I have these companies which are in Tally ERP, which is in demo data, right? So if I want to change the default folder to select company from some other folder, then I need to change the path. So in Tally ERP9, what do? I have to now press backspace, and then I have to now specify. I have to now specify the name of the path, which means I need to remember the path where my data is there. Like for example, let us say D colon backslash. I think I have some data here. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to say D colon backslash trading. And now it is giving me a list of companies in this folder. So I can select from this folder, right? So now this part is made pretty easy in Prime, where if you see, if I want to select from any other folder, right? So you have this company creation is basically you enter and then you create your company. We will see that later. Okay, select remote company. Just now I explained what the remote access in Tally ERP we saw. It is the same thing. Okay, now here is where if you know the name of the folder, like in ERP, you can enter here and then you can specify the folder name. So I can say D colon, like the same experience that you had in your ERP. So I will say D colon trading. enter. Now it is going to give me the same company that you're seeing here. If you see here, right? So this is the company here, and if you see here, so one sec, let me just quickly. Right, so you will see here the same path. Okay, d colon training, all these companies are there. But one thing, if you notice here, in the Tally Prime, you are now saying that all this company, it says migration is required, right? So when you are upgrading from Tally ERP to Tally Prime, then it requires a migration of your existing data from Tally ERP 9 to Tally Prime, right? So Tally Prime will identify the data whether it is in ERP version or it is in Prime version. If it is in Prime version, you will not get this information. But if it is in ERP version, Tally is going to tell you that you need to migrate this data. We will see this, how to migrate the data and all those things, right? But currently, I'm just going to, giving you this experience of how do you select the company, right? Fine. So now, if you don't know the path, right? If you don't know the path, here, in ERP, if you see, it is, little difficult for us to, remember the path, every time. Otherwise, you have to minimize Tally here, then go to your Windows Explorer, look into the folder and find the name of the folder, and then maybe you copy that and paste it in the path here. Now, all the difficulty is made very simple in Tally. In Tally Prime, you really don't have to, like minimize or anything. So I'm here. Let us say I don't know the name. I don't know the name of the folder where Tally company is there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to say select from drive. The moment I say select from drive, Tally is going to give me the list of all the drives that are available on the system, right? So now I can say, let's say if it is in D drive, I'm going to select my D drive. Okay, and then so which means basically in Tally Prime, you have this Windows Explorer feature here, so that it is very easy for you to quickly go and navigate and find out from which folder you want to select the company. So now these are my various folders that are there, and I can select this my folder, or I one. Okay, another nice feature that you see in Tally Prime is that, like the Tally Prime is 100% mouse compliant, right? So now for me to go down to the folders below, which is not visible here, then now in Tally Prime, see, I'm using my mouse scroll button to scroll down, right? I can scroll down and I can scroll up very easily using my mouse. So here is where, basically I'm looking for a folder called training. So I just go down and then I look for my folder training. I click here, I can double click here, and I get the same thing what we just now saw. So this is how you select your company, right? So once you have selected your company, then we will get into the gateway of Tally. So before that, I would want to quickly explain about the see, in Tally ERP9 we saw this top button bar, which was a static button bar. Now there is a major change that has happened in Tally Prime. If you see here, the bottom the product information and the license information is now gone, so that you have a larger real estate for you to work on your Tally data, right? So but where is it gone, right? So all your license information is now going to be available here, which is your Tally. It see, now it says this is my Tally Prime gold version. So now you know what do you mean by gold version. So all I need to do is just click here. Once I click here, it is now going to give me all that information that we saw here in Tally ERP9, what we saw here at the bottom of the screen. So all that information is now available to you here. Okay. And the major change that has happened in Tally Prime, if you see, these are now your menu bar. right? So this is something like a similar kind of an experience that you have in your MS Office environment. Like, if you're using a Word, Excel, PowerPoint, right? So you are, I mean, like, so comfortable with the top menu, with the drop down menu of sub menu or actionable menus. So similar kind of an experience now you're going to get in Tally Prime, where this is a static menu bar, right? So which means this menu, the user can access this menu from any part of Tally or from any screen of Tally, from the main screen, right? So we will actually get into each of these components at a later point in time, right? So just we are trying to understand the this screen component aspect of it. So I've not even selected any company, right? So basically you have this, which is your company information screen. So we understood the button bars, okay, we understood the product information, right? And the menu part we have understood, okay. And in case of Tally Prime, for example, let us say this is how my data used to be there, and where I have no company created. The moment you execute Tally Prime, you are going to get this screen, right? So how do you create a company? You see there is this company highlight which is there. Now this is more prominent, so that it is very easy for you to quickly identify and see where your cursor is there. So create company, then this is this button bar which is there on top. It is not a button bar in Tally Prime, it is a menu bar, right? So in the next session, we will basically try and understand how do you uh, load a company, or how do you access a company, then how do you shut the company, and then what are the other components. Once you select the company, you will see some change in your main screen. How do we understand those information? Everything we will see in the next session, okay. I hope this a quick introduction about the screen components would have given you an idea about how you can how do you understand each of those screen components, and also understand about your product information. And we will see in the next session more about the other aspects of your screen components. Okay. So thank you again, all, for staying till end. And if you're not subscribed, I would request you to kindly subscribe, and also would request you to share to your friends and colleagues so that they can also benefit out of it. Thank you very much. See you all until the next session. Thank you.